Okay, I'd like to call this Finance Committee meeting to order. The first item we have is assignment for request for council action. We have several for finance. 1484 General Liability Insurance Renewal from Wells Fargo 2014 to 2015. 1485 Crime and Airport Liability Renewal, A.J. Gallagher 2014-2015. 1486 Donation of 12 computers to Medina City Schools, MCRC. 1487 Budget Amendment. 1488 Intervention for Peace Proposal at 406 South Broadway. 1489 Purchase of 2015 F-250 truck, I believe, for streets. 1490 Preliminary Legislation for ODOT US 42 Improvement Project. 1491 Payment over $3,000 for HSH Construction. And 1492 Levy Renewal, Auditor Certification, 2.2 mil ambulance levy. The first item, I think, is the 1479, and I believe the mayor probably wanted to talk about the bicentennial 2018. He's not here yet. So we'll skip that one for now. 1484 General Liability Insurance Renewal from 2014 and 2015. That would be, would that be here, maybe? Keith, that's you. No, yeah, it is.
The law department handles the negotiation, I just need the authorization to pay it.
I think we, Mr. Huber, anything regarding the general liability insurance renewal? Is this typical?
We break it up between two different companies in order to get the best savings on money. So that's why you have two separate policies, one for crime and airport liability, which is through one broker, and the other is our general liability. Other than that, our claims history's been good, and the premium is favorable.
And the premium is $124,111 for the entire year. And the year commences, I would assume, when is the year?
April 1st.
April 1st to 14, to, okay, yeah, to March 31st. Okay.
Keith, what did we pay last year?
I don't.
It's up about 10,000.
10,000? Okay, thank you.
Do that consulting fee.
Thank you.
Move to approve with the emergency clause?
Second, including the emergency clause?
Any further discussion? All in favor with the emergency clause?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 1485, Crime and Airport Liability Renewal, 2014-2015. This is the same as Mr. Huber just spoke about. Divides up the policy into two different policies, I guess. And the premium on this one is $7,374. Questions?
I have the same question, Mark. How much did we pay last year for this? Keith?
I did not pull that for either of these, I didn't know that was needed. I can send it to all of you.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve with the emergency clause?
Second, including the emergency clause?
Any further questions regarding the renewals of crime and airport liability renewal? All in favor of the emergency clause?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item number 5, 1486, donation of 12 computers to Medina City Schools from the MCRC. Mr. Wright?
Yes, this is 12 of the 20 PCs that we replaced due to the operating systems being outdated. They're little or no value to us, and they go for nothing at the auction, so we'd much rather donate to the schools to use them better. Pro from the IT department deemed these 12 out of the 20 that most use it.
Questions?
I'm going to need to abstain since it's going to my employer.
Move to approve? Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 6 is 1487, the budget amendment for 2014-014, the way station. Keith?
Yes, sir, this is, you passed to do this is the appropriation to cover it. We're creating an account in the police department of way station so that we can track way station expenditures there as we have with the way station expenditures in the street fund.
Move to approve?
Second.
Any questions? I guess to be consistent, I had to vote no on this. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. I think the next one Mr. Huber, you're going to handle this next one too, I guess? The next one is item number 7. It's 14088, intervention for peace proposal at 406 South Broadway. Mr. Huber.
I talked to Mr. Clardy, who is here. We have a proposal for a lease of 406 South Broadway. The particulars, by way of highlight, involve a 5-year term. The intervention for peace organization would maintain the building, will be utilizing it for sales, bike rental. I know that there's proposal for some upgrade to the building itself that would be assistance by way of repair and replacement of the deck and some other things. Mr. Clardy's here and can answer any questions. I tried to get a draft together between Friday and today so that you could have at least the start of an outline with respect to the agreement. And now that we've got that started, if we need to make some changes, we can do that.
All right. Yeah, we had, everybody looks on the agenda, there was a letter that was delivered by Mr. Clardy and kind of given the background, and I believe that same terms have been incorporated at least. The only question I had would be, is this a 501c3 intervention for Peace, Inc.? Is it a 501c3 or is it
S
a?
corporation.
We're an S corp.
All right, because that's going to trigger, Mr. Huber, you know, real estate taxes will be due and payable on that parcel now because of that. And I don't know, it can't be that much, but just so we know. I don't think it'll be exempt still.
I haven't talked to the auditor about that, in as much as we are not charging rent. I wasn't sure how they would look at that, but
I think it deals with the user, if they're a for-profit entity and they're not a 501c3, they would be, we wouldn't be able to apply for or we would lose if we have applied for our tax exemption for that, real estate tax exemption for that parcel. But I don't think the value we bought it at, I don't think the taxes would be more than
we paid $100,000 for that property, so I
Right.
imagine the tax is not too bad. But I have not talked to the auditor, and I got up to speed on this on Friday, so we will have to do that.
there's one issue that we'll have to address to see if there's, what if any taxes will be due, real estate taxes will be due and payable on the parcel because of that. That's my biggest question. Anybody else? I mean, who's question?
What's your source of funding for these improvements that you suggest?
Our company's going,
Your company?
yeah, our company, and we also are going to involve some different community members in the project as well, but we're not asking any funding from the city or.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You know, we didn't talk about taxes. If there is in fact a tax charge, that's not an issue, because if I was lease, you folks are responsible for that.
We would be willing to pay the taxes
I think it may be like $1,200 a year if they charge taxes on that parcel.
yeah, I mean, if it becomes an issue, then we accept the tax.
Okay. I mean, I just didn't, it's one thing that popped out at me.
Looking over this, I think it's a great idea. It seems like it'll turn pretty quick to get that going. There's some minor work that you guys are going to do the property, but I don't think it's going to take that long. And do you guys have any idea when you think you'll be up and running? If you gave me a rough ballpark, I mean, could we see something by the end of the summer season, or?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we'd be disappointed if we weren't I mean, the main, can I speak?
Sure.
The main purpose of this is to provide employment opportunities for people with developmental disabilities. We serve about 60 folks in Medina here, and we want to involve them in as much of the work as possible, and then when we're ready and able to serve the community, we partner with Cool Beans to bring another local business down, rather than start another business, to bring another business down. We have a few others, the New Jerky company in here in town that just had the ribbon cutting. We want to work with the one of the bike shops here to rent some bicycles. And so the sooner the better, but we'll have to get the work done and until we, find out what's involved with that, all the, but yeah, we'd love to be out by the end of the summer.
So the use of this building, Mr. Huber, is mainly the first floor then? Because the first floor will be open to the public. Because we had a question about the second floor, if I recall, or something else being open to the public, just from Mr. Vogel when he was here, a question or concern of what we had to do to modify the building to allow the whole building open to the public, meaning the second floor. Because it wasn't accessible.
We have no interest in the second floor,
Okay, okay.
just the first floor,
Okay.
and then the basement area to store bicycles.
And that should be fine, and I think. Because I remember, if you recall, Mr. Vogel had a concern.
Sure, with the second floor, sure.
But give it an elevator.
And there are some stairs going up inside that if we wanted to remove the stairs from the outside from just people trying
sure.
to enter, if it's not going to be used, we could put a locked door inside that nobody can go up the stairs, but if we had to, we could go up, and then that way we could eliminate the stairs on the outside, so folks couldn't try to get in.
Yeah, that's fine. My concern wasn't Jonathan's here, he's in the back, he can echo it. I think the biggest concern we had was the definition of open to the public and what we had to do to the building to allow that to occur.
Yeah, as a retail use, it wouldn't meet the building code.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I appreciate, what you put together. It's a perfect proposal, really. It fits almost exactly with what we had originally envisioned doing with that property. And when we decided as a council administration to save the house, I think that we were keen to find a good use for it that really served the community. And to add this to the park, to add this in that location by the park, and particularly to partner with local businesses to provide is just an exceptional addition to what the city has to offer. And as we spoke earlier, I have talked to the CDC, and we have an architect who is doing color plan for the color of how the colors of the house that you can take a look at and choose. And I've asked them if they'll contribute the money to pay for the paint and also a little bit of reconfiguration on the front, where that window is that's not architecturally, certainly not correct. But the rest of the plan looks, especially the deck out back, it's a perfect plan, and I guarantee you on a perfect day in the summertime, I'll be back there with my dog, sitting on the deck, having a coffee. I told you, Mayor, I said, I'll tie my dog up to a tree. It's like a whole new level for us, I think, for the city to have something like this, an appendage really hooked onto the parks, to our parks and on that trail that's so well used. And I'm glad that we found a use of the building, because the longer it sits vacant, the tougher it gets, and like we talked about, it is one of the oldest houses in town. It's in great shape, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment that I know early on we talked to Century Cycles, so I would just ask if you would at least touch base with them, because they were interested when we had an initial conversation about the idea.
That's our plan.
Okay, appreciate that.
I too just have a comment. Excited about your plans, excited about the venture proceeding, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for all your efforts.
And when you guys start working on the house and painting or something, and you're looking for volunteer work, give me a call. I'm not a perfect handyman, but I patch up walls, run a brush, stuff like that. I'd be more than willing to come out and help.
Awesome.
All right?
Yeah, same, call me, and I'll find some people to come and help you.
Call me if you can't get a hold of Marcus.
Send your dog? Send your dog?
He doesn't go without me.
I will make a motion to approve the lease subject to the final law director's approval.
Second.
Any further discussion or comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks for your time. Now we're going to move up to item number 2. The mayor's here, 14079 is the bicentennial 2018 update.
Thank you. Apologize for being a little bit late. We reached out to the members 1 through 8 that's listed on the request for council action. And we got a response from a number of them, and some are still pending. We expect they're going to want to be involved, but it's still pending. In addition to that, Medina Community Band has asked that Tom Bohr be appointed on behalf of the band. He's on the board of directors, and they feel that with the activities that the community band does on the square, that they would like to be involved in planning the music and the activities that the music kind of represents the bicentennial recognition. And then I forwarded to council, but also received a letter today from Attorney Pat Walker, who has a great deal of interest in serving on the committee, and she has experience, possibly more than some of the other, at least more than me. She was on the committee for the 150th anniversary of the courthouse, 200th anniversary of the Bill of Rights, the U.S. Bicentennial Committee for the City of Broadview Heights, and on a committee for the 50th anniversary of Broadview Heights. I think her experience on some of those past committees could be very beneficial, and if council's okay, I would recommend that those two groups be added.
And how many does that make on the committee?
That would be 12 with a council designee and an administrative designee. And I guess how I foresee this is that not necessarily everybody may be able to make all the meetings, but as long as we have broad representation, then even if we have to divide into subgroups and, you know, maybe have a fundraising committee and an activities committee, whatever, I think we can pull this off. Dawn's the administrative rep if you'd like that for the ordinance.
Okay. I don't think we've discussed yet who wants to be the council rep. You want to be the council? Anybody volunteer?
Bill doesn't want to do it,
Are you going to be south of, or
No,
South
no,
Court?
I've appointed,
Okay.
I've appointed somebody else. My only comment is this, and I think it's a good message to send, because we have a really good group of organizations that's, and I really like the idea of the band. I mean, that was kind of, I wouldn't have thought of that. But I would say this, I know South Court Street appointed Ellen Nolan, who was the moms, in the moms group that did the playground. She's new to the community, she's interested in all sorts of historical things, research, and she's young. And I'm hoping that other groups too think about, we really want to have the ability to reach out to people with a great background, expertise, and knowledge about the history, and we can, you kind of expand on that, form subgroups. But I think it's really obligatory. I think we really need to reach out to folks within our own organizations and other people in the community that aren't, that are younger. I think we really need to begin to bring in younger folks that haven't had decades of involvement, because the bicentennial, once it's over, there'll be another one in, or another 50 years, there'll be a celebration. And I think that, like a lot of organizations in town that have trouble attracting younger people to participate, I think we have to make, or hopefully the groups will all make an overt effort to reach out to, folks in their late 20s and 30s that are going to play this role, play an important role in Medina. And
Do you think Dawn's too old?
I'm reaching youth.
and energy and vitality,
Right.
and wisdom, knowledge.
And I rescind my nomination of Bill.
No, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I made that clear, but I just think that, sometimes I know we do things and we go to things and we're all the same. It's the same group, same folks. And it's hard to let go sometimes, and I've looked at a couple of groups that are in it and thought about who to appoint, but then I thought, we really need to get those younger folks in and get them up to speed and get them going and get them involved so they can hook in other young people too, so that we can carry on all these great traditions that we have and bring that to bear on the celebration.
So Mayor, each group will come to you or come to Dawn or whoever and say, hey, we've talked about.
Point of
this.
representative.
Right, each
Yes, sir.
group will, okay. And then once they come up with a plan, will that then come back in front of council for like a blessing, or will it just be whatever they come up with will be updated and move forward, or is it something that's gonna need some kind of approval from council?
Well, you tell me if council would
No.
like to oversee the plan. I guess I could see the council's gonna need to oversee it if it's city money.
Well, we have a
Our-
rep on there.
I'm sorry, right.
Right.
Our hope is that we'll be able to draw on some outside resources and not have it funded, at least primarily by the city. So,
I think just a final presentation was sort of
Okay.
to show us what's going to happen.
Right.
Just a general question.
no, it's a fair question.
Unless, I mean, they may ask, as part of the process, any other ideas.
Or funding, like the mayor
Right.
said.
or
There needs to be funding.
I mean, everybody can give their idea if they want to Bill, he's the council rep, if something particular you want to have
The other
presented.
thing we could do is we could build into the organization a reporting time, you know, like have the commission report to council once every 6 months, you know, minimum, you know.
Well, the council
Kind of
administration, I guess, would be
updates.
both.
Council administration
Like
updates, yeah.
I don't see any harm in it.
Right, that'd be fine. Okay. So we need to vote on or pass the structure of the ordinance, the structure of the committee and establishing the bicentennial committee. So, as modified, I guess.
So Bill's the council rep?
Yeah,
Accepting it?
Are you
Yes.
accepting it? Put your hand up.
I might not get enough votes.
Okay, I guess you can make a motion.
I'll make a motion then that Mr. Lamb be the council representative to the Bicentennial Commission as outlined from the administration.
Well, we need to adopt the commission itself, too. I guess we do that first. I don't know if we have to vote for him to be on there. Maybe separately we have to do that, but I think we have to vote an ordinance establishing the 9 different categories, plus he added 2 more. I think that's the ordinance we have to pass, is the structure of the bicentennial committee. Because you gotta have an ordinance to establish it.
To establish
A
a
committee.
committee?
Do we? Is that what I think that's what we were trying to do, is to,
Well, I understand that, but I don't know if we actually do ordinances.
well, Mr. Huber, do we need an ordinance, or just need like a finance approval or something to get the committee off the ground, or what would we need?
What is it that we're talking about?
Bicentennial Committee, we set up the Archive Commission, the Cemetery Commission, all of those are set up by ordinance.
I know.
That's why-
Those are commissions though, as opposed to a committee.
I'm sorry?
I said those are commissions as opposed to a committee
Which are-
that's
right.
got a specific purpose and then it's done.
This one is?
Yeah, where the other ones are
Yeah, 'cause
forever.
it's not gonna be put in any.
But this is gonna require some funding from the city, most likely. I don't think it's gonna be something that would be totally funded outside the city.
Normally, we pass, if it's a commission, it's usually done by ordinance. If it's a committee, it's generally handled administratively.
What did we do 50 years ago?
I have to look that
Come
up.
on, no, we, what's
I have, I actually
Yeah,
have
let
the
me check
list.
everything. Well, you can vote on it, and then we'll look into it.
Yeah, let's vote on it as if we're gonna do the, establish
we're
a,
gonna do
I guess it'll be a commission, the bicentennial commission, that'll, if you wanna make it sound fancy.
No, I don't think we want to though, because then that's forever. I mean, that's a big difference from a cemetery commission or archives committee
Yeah,
here.
then you have to write a whole procedure.
All right, well, let's find out what we wanna do with it, and if we need to pass an ordinance, which it sounds like we're leaning that we're not going to, it's just gonna be a committee established by the administration with involvement of the various groups and members of council and administration involved. Is that, everybody okay with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, then we don't even make a motion. Okay, thanks. Okay, moving on. We have 1489, purchase of a 2001-2015 F-250 4x4 SD for the street department. I guess that's street department SD. Nino's not here, so who's handling Nino?
I got it.
Mayor?
It's the purchase of a street truck for the street foreman, Bill Davis. It's a 2015 F-250 4x4 with plow package, and it's an open steel utility bed. The purchase is, these are Nino's notes, the purchase is in the budget will allow the foreman to carry many of the tools and necessities which are not on the various trucks. The foreman is on most of the jobs, and it will allow for better efficiency. What they're doing currently is if the street crews are out there with the foreman, and then they don't have those tools, they have to pack up everything, go back to the garage, get the tools they're missing, then go back up to the scene, reestablish the work zone. So this will permit them to have most everything they need on the job site and eliminate the downtime. And then the current truck that Bill Davis is using is a 4x4 GMC that we're hoping to give it to Jansen for parks on a vehicle swap. And it's identical to the type the supervisor uses at MCSE and works well.
I'd just like you to pass along to Neil and Bill and everybody else that's spent a lot of time and energy on this researching, and I think it's going to be a great addition to the fleet we have.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, do you know if, and I apologize, I didn't see it in here, if they, the box itself, is that aluminum or is it just standard? I thought I saw steel. Do you know if?
It says open steel utility bed.
Okay, have you guys looked into an aluminum utility box on that, or?
I'll check with Nino before we get to council and see.
Just,
Right.
maybe it'll last a little longer if
Okay.
it's worth the price, or the difference.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Move to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item we have is 1490, preliminary legislation for ODOT US 42 improvement project. Okay.
Thank you. We received this from ODOT weeks ago. They're asking for our authorization basically to construct the Route 42 improvements. This is the big project, the widening that will occur in the next coming years. In addition to giving our authorization for them to do the work, we are committing, though they don't need a check today, probably won't for a couple of years, but we are acknowledging our commitment of $1.1 million towards the construction of the project.
And my understanding, Mr. Durham, is we still have, from the bond money, we still have a lot of money left in the 108 account. Far exceeding that amount. This is based upon the architectural renderings or engineer drawings that we reviewed like a year ago, was it, or?
Last fall.
Last fall?
Yeah.
And then we would decide later on whether or not the fixturing of lights on, down the boulevard, let's call it, and the landscaping, make it sound nice, the boulevard. Is it-
The lights will be part of the project, I believe the landscaping, seeding the median, raised median, that will be up to us.
Right.
It's outside the project.
Because I think you said that may be more cost effective for us to do those separately because they're not rolled into the general conditions.
Correct, right.
And that was our choice last fall.
Correct.
The lights will be installed as part of this project.
And so they just need to know that we're gonna be able to contribute our share of 1.1 million at 2016 or 17, whenever the project is commenced or completed.
Correct, yeah.
Any questions?
So the plan's done?
No, not yet, but it's getting close, yeah.
Because they have to coordinate with Medina Township. Now, Medina Township is not
They're
doing.
not
what-
doing the boulevard.
They're not doing what
They're
we're
not.
doing. It's gonna look a lot different on their end.
Correct.
Fortunately or unfortunately, I mean, at least the city entrance is gonna look fantastic, I think.
Did we decide to put the lights in the middle, or did we end up with the lights on the sign?
The lights will be in the middle.
It will be in the middle.
Yeah.
And I saw some that were kind of like you were talking about, a little bit modern, but still traditional.
Yeah.
I drove up for a volleyball game in Mentor, and they have that on, I don't remember what road it is, right down the middle, big lights, look really nice, I mean, so I don't know. If anybody wants to drive the Mentor, check it out. About an hour away.
Yeah,
I know, I was driving fast.
$800 iPad.
But,
I don't know, I exaggerate, you know.
any other questions?
Move to approve with the emergency clause?
Second, including the emergency clause?
All in favor with the emergency clause?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Patrick. 1491, payment over $3,000, HSH Construction. Keith?
Checked with Pat and Nino, this was a emergency storm sewer repair, and because it was a unplanned repair, we didn't have a previous purchase order.
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second including emergency clause.
Any further discussion or comment?
I just want to thank Pat for getting that done there on Wadsworth Road.
You have to thank Nino for that.
All right. I will, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 1492, levy renewal for the request for auditor certification. This is a 2.2 mil ambulance levy. Mr. Durham.
Thank you. I've amended this to request the emergency clause now. The process for the levy renewal, this is the first step. We have to ask the county auditor to certify the amount to be collected. After we get that back, then it's going to have to come back to Finance Committee, then go to council, then to put the levy on the ballot. In order to do all that without any future emergency clauses or without jumping straight from Finance to council, we need an emergency clause on the first one. This is only to request the county auditor to certify the amount that will be collected by the renewal. Very important to point out.
Yeah. Question.
There's a change in property tax law we want to make sure everybody's aware of. On a renewal, we will preserve the homestead exemption and the property tax rollback. The state is phasing those out, so if you do a replacement or a new levy, you don't get that homestead exemption and rollback. On a renewal, it follows the old levy, it's still preserved. The way the homestead exemption and the rollback work, the residents pay less tax, we get the money from the state instead, so the city gets the same amount of money, but the residents pay less. So we're saving the residents money by doing a renewal, and we still get the same amount.
And the timing of it, that way by our meeting in July 9th, I believe it is, we'd be able to pass it, I think, in the June 23rd meeting.
Yeah, 'cause
without
July-
the emergency clause, because it has to be to the Board of Elections by August 6th.
Correct. If we pass it at the July meeting, we would need the emergency clause.
So it'll give plenty of time for the public to
Right.
voice their concern or opinions with respect to the renewal. Any questions?
I have to abstain.
Understood.
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second with emergency clause?
All in favor with the emergency clause?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I can only do one thing at once.
Looks like the last, anything else that's come before the Finance Committee before we do the executive session? Anybody have any business?
Make a motion to go into,
I'm sorry. Could we include with the executive session, though, Kimberly and Jonathan? Please. Mr. Healy.
Mr. Goodwin?
do we have more than just contract negotiations then?
They're both contract related.
Okay. I'll make a motion then at 6:34 to go into executive session for the purpose of preparing for conducting or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with employees concerning their compensation and other terms and conditions of their employment.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Lamb? Lamb?
Yes.
Colbert?
Yes.
Shields?
Yes.
Coin?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Olson?
Yes.
We'll be recessing into executive session down here. We'll be reconvening into the Finance meeting after, but we will not be taking any action with any items discussed in executive session. Therefore, we are recessed.